It's 5 o'clock. At this time, I'll call the work session for Perry City Council, Monday, May 6, 2019. Order, please. We have 4. Item 3, items for review and discussion. Item 3A are appearances. 3A1 is the Chamber and the Downtown Merchants wine tasting event. Ms. McClendon.
I'm just here tonight. I know that Anya is going to be presenting it formally to y'all tomorrow, but I am unable to be here tomorrow night. So if you have any questions about the Downtown Merchants Council annual wine tasting event, it is on June 7th again this year. It's just a rinse and repeat from last year. Again, Anya will be presenting the city services request to you tomorrow night, but I just wanted to be here and answer any questions that you may have directly of me.
Questions, council? Good to go.
Very good. Thank you for your support and the letter for the state as well.
You're welcome. Item 3B is the fiscal year 2020 operating budget. 3B1 is from the Department of Public Works. Smith.
Mayor, Council. What a pleasure to be kicking off your budget hearings this year. Representing the fine folks at Public Works who are populating most of the back row. Has been FY19 has been a very good year of the Department of Public Works. I think as an organization we've made a lot of strides in regards to getting to where y'all want the city to be in our provision of services, public works related services. I do have a very brief presentation for y'all this evening, but I will go ahead and tell you that the manager's proposed budget to y'all is more than satisfactory. We're very pleased with it. And I will. If you want to. I know y'all like to keep it short and sweet, so I'll try and be short and sweet here. But we do appreciate y'all's support.
That's the case.
Lots of questions? Just a general overview in regards to where we are currently for FY19 and what the proposal is for FY20. You can see there are some upticks here in costs. Most of those are due to personnel cost increases, infrastructure increases. We're actually seeing a lot of costs that we had not had before in regards to operation of our light poles, pedestrian and street lights, and also just general maintenance and operational costs. No significant capital expenditures, no new positions. Basically what we're doing right now, the proposed budget will sustain that level of operations, and hopefully we'll be able to, the internal efficiencies, increase those operations. So again, it's outlined in the general personnel costs, infrastructure costs. It's something too that y'all pride yourselves on, and I think it's an excellent idea, is the way our city facilities look, the way our rights of way look, city properties, that type of thing. Ms. Spitzer and her crew has done an excellent job in bringing that up significantly from where it was. There are costs associated with that, but we think that they are costs that are very good to have. There are a couple of recommended promotions. You can see that Mr. Christian's position, which is currently a supervisor position, will be bumped up to infrastructure manager, and then Mr. Ennis bumped up to solid waste manager. What this does is puts a manager over each of our divisions in Public Works, provides them with a bit more authority in regards to how they're going to operate their divisions, and also puts us in line with other cities in regards to how they operate their Public Works department. And as always, it's been an ongoing process, but we do want to make sure that we're focusing on training, professional development, that type of thing. I know coming from y'all and then in our own department, that's something that y'all seem to place a premium on. We want to certainly make sure that our employees are getting the support, the education, the training opportunities that they need to do their jobs and hopefully do their jobs better. And then succession planning. That's something that I think all departments are dealing with, something y'all talked about a number of times. How do we position employees in a way that if something were to happen to our frontline managers and that type of thing, that we can have someone come in there and step into that role without losing any sort of efficiencies or service levels. And of course, safety. This has been something that this year has really been driven home. Ms. Fitzner actually has taken over our safety personnel position, if you will. They represent the Public Works Department on our safety committee. And she's done a fantastic job of identifying safety issues, addressing those safety issues. For instance, coming in with eye wash stations, that type of thing. You look at it kind of, well, duh, they're messing with chemicals. They should have eye wash stations, but we have it at this point in time. So she's done an excellent job with that. We're actually having twice a month safety meetings as well, where Ms. Pfister has something for our employees in regards to safety and how they can better do their jobs in a safe manner. So that's been fantastic. In general, again, we've been very busy. At this point in time, last year, we now see about a 12% increase in regards to service calls and services that we're providing to the citizens. So, a significant uptick there. That's where some of those costs are coming into play. Something I just thought you'd be interested in here was Mr. Ennis and his crews have delivered about 1,060 carts to various customers, and only 124 have been picked up. I'm sure that's not a surprise to y'all, considering how much we're growing here in the city, but I think that's one of those indicators you kind of look at and you're like, well, yeah, potholes is kind of the big public works thing. And stormwater maintenance, just telling y'all now that stormwater is going to be a bigger and bigger issue for the city. Mr. Christian and his crew working very well with Ms. Nottingham and Chad in regards to identifying those issues and getting them repaired efficiently and effectively. But I know he's been inundated with stormwater maintenance calls. So you'll probably see a bit more of that in the future, and I'd suggest you go ahead and start looking at what we can do in that regard. And just something I also thought you might find interesting are high service volume planning areas. Of course, you'll have the city divided by the planning areas. Tucker Road is our most meaty planning area, if you will, followed by Northside and State Route 127 planning areas. All are very dense residential areas, of course, and then downtown, which of course is our most dense commercial area. So none of these numbers should be a surprise to you all.
What's the definition of a service, high service volume? I mean, what are you doing for them?
It runs the gamut. It's really anything that Public Works offers. Ms. King has been very diligent in regards to responding to citizen complaints, citizen requests, that type of thing, and we document that every month on the report that y'all hopefully get.
Right.
But they can also be as simple as someone calling about something utilities related that we just pass along to ESG.
Okay.
Of course, we want to bring to y'all some ideas, some concerns, issues, things like that you may want to take into account as you move forward in the city. Again, stormwater, there will come a time, probably very soon, where we're going to need some additional crew and equipment in regards to stormwater so we can better perform maintenance operations and make sure that's completed in a timely manner. The transfer station at the inert landfill site, the big property the city has down at the end of Ball Street towards Larry Walker Parkway. We have done some due diligence on that. We've had engineering reports completed there, and we'd envision that eventually, and hopefully soon, being somewhere where Mr. Ennis and his crew can locate and have their roll-off dumpsters and that type of thing, to provide a lot more space to them. With the growth that we've been seeing here in the city, Mr. Ennis and his crew do an excellent job maintaining service levels in regards to solid waste pickup, the yard waste and the bulk waste. But they work very hard and oftentimes are having to work overtime. So I'd eventually think in the next 2 to 3 years probably we'll need another knuckle boom truck and crew. Aging facilities and deferred maintenance. You've all met Ms. Davis. She's come in and she's doing an excellent job in regards to assessing where our facilities currently are. There are a number of issues there that need to be addressed, and she's working diligently with her crew and making sure that we do address those issues. But don't be surprised if we see some increased costs in regards to our facilities. The Public Works facility in and of itself does need some work. I'm sure I don't know if you've been out there recently, but the pole barns that have all of our equipment stuff underneath them are super old and they're falling apart. We're looking at them today. I mean, some of the walls are falling off and things. And with our MS4 permit, and this is again going back to the stormwater stuff, they're requiring more and more that things have to be undercover. Gone are the days where you can just have a lay down yard and have your equipment, your stuff out there or whatever. The state's not going to put up with that. So we've been having to go in and build kind of makeshift lean-tos, things that we can do to get the state off our back for now. But it's not going to last much longer. We're going to need to have some more covered shelter and adequate shelter. And grounds and right-of-way, again, going back to what an excellent job the landscaping division has been doing with the way everything looks, all the city properties looks. I think it's important. I think, again, y'all pride yourselves on this. The city sets the example in regards to how we want the city to look. So again, you know, we continue to place a premium on that item. This thing's dying. Public Works Week's coming up. Just a little plug here. Please mark your calendars for May 24th. That's our Public Works luncheon. Thought I'd go ahead and get that in there. Do y'all have any questions?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir.
You were talking about, you probably gonna need some more. What kind of program you got for cross training? You know, sometimes company have, like you said, in one area I might do one job, but if I get cross trained to another area, if it come a heavy load, you need me, you can ship me to that position.
Yes, sir. We actually do a lot of that. You know, it's an excellent group of employees in Public Works, and a lot of them are just very skilled at all the sorts of things that need to be done in Public Works. So it's quite often that the crews and the divisions, you know, share employees when things are, you know, necessary and all of that. So we do a lot of that. I think something that could be put in place would be a more formalized program in that regard, possibly. But there is a lot of sharing of personnel in the department right now. Any other questions? Well, we certainly appreciate you all.
I just want to follow up on that, Mr. King. That's not going to take away the need of having additional bodies.
True.
Did I look at this, did I see a bottom line, how much it's gonna cost next year?
Public Works operations?
You said it's gonna be, that's the initiative, but what's the bottom line?
Well, the costs are going to be more than this year. There's so many cost centers associated with the Public Works budget. I'm not actually sure.
$2,157,800.
Before?
$2,157,800.
Any other questions on that? All right, thank you all. Appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
I guess we'll still kind of hang out up here.
Who next?
All right.
3B2, Department of Leisure Services, Mr. Smith.
I don't have a PowerPoint for Leisure Services, unfortunately. I can say they've had a very busy year. I think this is a transition time for the city of Perry in regards to our leisure services activities, where we are seeing a shift away from traditional leisure services, you know, team sports, that type of thing. A little bit less and less interest in that, and more interest in adult type sports, and also varied leisure activities. You know, not every child coming up in the city of Perry is interested in playing football. So what can the city do to provide alternative forms of leisure activities to those children? That's something that I know that department's been thinking a lot of. But of course, you know, we still do maintain some of the traditional stuff as well, and a number of facilities and that type of thing. Generally, what you're seeing with the departmental budget this year is an 11% increase in operational costs over last year. A lot of those costs, very much like Public Works, are general operations and maintenance. You know, things have just gotten more and more expensive. You know, there's more and more that needs to be done in regards to keeping our facilities to where they need to be, and more costs that go into providing the services that the citizens expect. We do appreciate the recommendation in regards to the Creekwood basketball court resurfacing. I think that'll be very good. It's a very popular thing out there in Creekwood Park. But generally, and I've spoken with the employees in that department, they seem to be pleased with the recommended budget. I'd be happy to try and answer any questions you might have.
I didn't see anything in the budget about the area where we have our picnics at Rosa Park. We had, that was the place where we hosted the cleanup for the, you know, check-in and lunch.
On Saturday?
On Saturday. Could not believe what bad shape those benches were in. There was only maybe 3 or 4 user-friendly. You couldn't put anything on several of those tables because they were so warped.
Was that under the pavilion?
Under the pavilion.
Okay.
And like I say, it might have been 3 or 4 that you could use, and that was about it. The seating on some of them was deplorable, as well as the tops. So we need to look at least redoing those tables and benches.
Yes, ma'am. We'll look into that. Any other questions or issues of concern?
I'm pleased with the tennis courts, how they're coming.
coming along, aren't they?
Yes.
That's gonna be a nice thing over there for sure.
There you go.
All right, thank y'all.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate y'all.
Item 3B3, just the municipal court. Darrington?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Municipal Court's very happy with the recommended budget. So we agree, don't have much to say, other than looking into the future. I did want to mention that thinking about scheduling arraignment twice a month since our caseload is increasing and our courtroom doesn't have the capacity to fill 2 groups. We usually have over 100 defendants that come in during that court. So if we had arraignment twice a month, we could split them into 2 groups. That would be the only thing that I can think of that maybe in the future we would start thinking about. Any questions?
Would you do that, just say the second, add another Wednesday for the arraignment?
I did talk to Judge Freeman. He tends to think that it would be another Wednesday versus doing it. I thought about maybe doing it in the morning, 8 a.m., 1 in the morning, and then 1 in the afternoon. So one day would be in court. But he prefers maybe splitting it at 2 afternoons since most of the individuals work and it's easier for them 4 p.m. versus 8 a.m.
And just alphabetically, A through Z, whatever, or just split the numbers, or?
Right now, we have control, the court has control of the court date with the e-ticket. So right now, if you get a ticket today, your court date's going to be July 10th.
Okay.
So we're trying to shorten that time frame also.
Probably first in, first out.
First in, first out, okay.
Unless there was a scheduling problem, the officer being on duty.
Right.
Some problem with
Right, we're trying to work on that with the officers. Sometimes they can't be on trial, they have to be on the road, so then we have to call them, come back to court. So we're trying to work with the police department so that the ones that are on night shift, those are the ones that we're gonna schedule for court. So we have to be aware of when the officer is on shift. So that's another thing that we trying to work on that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
If I may, Mayor and Council, one of the other items that looks like it's coming up on the horizon is we're gonna have to get some more associate judges. You may remember we talked about possibly doing one, or we talked about that. But we're researching it right now, but we're running into some problems. Historically, we've been able to use the magistrate court judges for after hours. And with the load that they're getting from just the county itself and everything, we've been advised, correct if I'm wrong, Mayor, but we've been advised that we're all looking at similar alternatives, but I'm afraid it's gonna boil down to we're gonna have to get our own part-time judges, so hopefully we can get enough interest to where you rotate. We have like maybe about 6 of them, so you rotate, so you be on like every 6 weeks or so.
So this is for issuing warrants.
Right.
You know, so now we go to magistrate court. If an officer has a warrant that he wants issued, then he has to go to the magistrate judge and get that warrant. And that's, they're requesting that they not do that anymore.
It's, yeah. You know, they've worked very well. You know, for example, when we had the homicide, they were quick responding on that type of stuff. But with recent state court, Supreme Court decisions, it also rolls over into DUIs and what you have to do now. And just like Mayor was talking about, with the increase that we're having just in our size and volume, I see where that's going to be something that's going to be coming up. I don't think it's going to necessarily be this year, but did want to advise you that that's going to be another area we're going to have to address.
So you're looking at 6 to 8 local people that we can work with if they're in a rotating sequence, so.
Right, and it'd all be evening, it wouldn't be day type of stuff, so they wouldn't have, it wouldn't conflict with, I hate to use the term their day job, but, you know, in most cases, their day practice type of thing.
Any questions?
Just how quickly do you think we're going to be required to do that? Is it something that we should address in this budget?
Well, I think it'll probably come to you as an amendment
Okay.
to the budget, or anyway, I don't think for you all to know right now what to do.
Okay.
Because we don't know for sure what the process is, number one. Number two, we don't know for sure whether there's enough local attorneys that be interested in doing it, so. Because, which I was not aware of, unlike on the county level for the magistrate court judges, for our municipal court judges, they have to be the current practicing attorney.
Do they have to be in the county?
No, they don't have to, but, you know, for example, on the DUI deal, the implied consent agreement that historically is used, the Supreme Court has thrown that out, basically. So they gotta get something else with that. The General Assembly addressed a little bit of that, but not the whole portion of it this last go-round. And so consequently, we want to have judges that are nearby, because with that DUI, you only have a 3-hour window. is that
3-hour
right?
window to turn around.
And it's gone. You know, so therefore, if we have a judge, for example, in Hawkinsville, that may work, may not. If we have a judge up in Macon, probably won't work for a turnaround time. So that's why we're interested in providing the opportunity.
That also includes the time to draft a search warrant. Each one of those is unique
Right.
in its own way. So,
And of course, getting them over for the test.
Amendment item number 1,
Soon to be added.
to be continued. Yeah.
Starting already.
Yeah.
This is the budget, but really, here are the amendments.
Anything further? Item 3D4, the Department of Administration. Amy?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Be careful to get tripped up in that court. Our recommended budget, we too agree with all that has been presented. We want to have a little presentation here as to where we stand in part of the whole budget. The total budget for this city, recommended budget is $34.5 million, a little over. Department administration is part of the general fund, which is 49% of the budget. Of that 49% of that total budget, Department administration is 8.95, approximately 9% of that total amount at $1.5 million. We're a little bit over than what we were in the year before due to the fact that customer service is being added back as oversight under Department administration. Other than, as we just talked about, the shifting of customer service oversight, we're in agreement with that. Encode, one of our recommendations, which was approved, was the purchase of Encode 9, the purchase order module, to streamline and to digitize or make electronically the processing of purchase orders and requisition that will begin at the department level, and we'll go through an extensive training with the departments on that. One of the other recommendations that we requested but was not included, and we're asking, we continue to look ahead and think of our software upgrade, our Encode 9. We started and we converted over from TDS in 2013, so we're already 6 years into this software. There are other types of software, whether it's we host it here on the site as we do now, or we host it in the cloud. But we are asking that we continue to review that and be back to you in future years for that. Any questions?
Are we current? Are we doing the current software?
Yes, yes. Enhancements have been made over time. One of the drawbacks, what we have right now with Encode 9 is the reporting. When we pull everything when we pull some reports into Excel, there's a lot of cleanup that we have to do, and it takes some time. Encode 10, which is one of the next versions of export reports more easily and readable in Excel. But there are some others out there as well.
Thank you. Any questions, Councilman?
Are you looking forward to going to an Expo 10? What do you think?
Encode 10?
And
Their Encode 10 has only been out about maybe 4 years. I have been looking at it and talking with some of my counterparts that have worked with it. One, she had some trouble at the very beginning, but it's just all depends on where we want to go. We want to stay in the cloud because it will be a complete conversion. It won't be that with just an upgrade. So Encode would be a conversion as if we would convert to another software. So it depends on reporting capabilities. They're really important. So we can get some reports out, and then as we dump them in Excel and can easily get them to you, that would be very nice.
so what if that?
Yes.
Will this be part of our technology assessment that's going on?
Yes.
How safe are we? You hear on the news now where people are hacking in and charging cities X number of dollars to let them get off the hook. One little city that just went ahead and paid them $8,000.
I think we're pretty safe, but since Mr. Baker's right here in the audience, I would have him address it.
Yes, we take every precaution for that, and, you know, I think over the last couple of years, we've been doing additional training for users in the network, and part of what we're proposing to the city, as part of what we're doing with Hargrave, we're going to actually add some enhancements to that in the coming months. So,
You're aware of what I'm talking about?
yes, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 3C, is the police department. 3C1 is an update relative to traffic on Glenwood Avenue. Mr. Glenn?
Yes, sir. So, based on the tasking from the council meeting, we conducted monitoring of Glenwood and W.F. Reagan from April 17th to May the 2nd. And we didn't really notice a speeding problem on either street. I'm sure that the people that made the complaint would be the same because it's on police cars, which was, you know, I can't really dispute that. But on Glenwood, we wrote 3 warning tickets that fell within the speed that we would generally write warning tickets to, and 4 citations for the, you know, over the speed where we would normally write cases. Traffic volume could tend to be high. You know, there was generally they were monitored at 45-minute or hour increments, and there'd be 30 to 60 cars with a high count. One morning, I think it was an hour and 5 minutes, 112 cars.
That's on Glenwood.
On Glenwood. So we wrote 7 citations, 3 being warnings. In contrast, during that same time period, citywide, we wrote 210 citations. So, you know, kind of a small percentage of what we wrote overall. And over on W.F. Reagan, well, back to Glenwood for just a minute. The officers on the scene assessment was if we put speed bumps in there, it's probably just going to push traffic to Forest or Key and create a problem there. So, having said that, the road is kind of narrow. I don't know what other options we have. We could have a traffic study done, an unobtrusive device, so we would probably get a fair assessment of both traffic volume and speed because it monitors both. Just as an idea, we would go to GDOT for that.
Is there an expense related to that?
I think it's more the way it's viewed. Is there an expense? And they do it on their schedule. I understand. On W.F. Reagan, still, it's narrow road, sidewalks close to the road. Volumes, it's a cut through, so the volume's pretty high. We didn't really see any speed bumps over there, didn't write a single ticket. But a lot of traffic, a lot of kids on bicycles, with its nature as a thoroughfare, I don't think we've had the issue raised for speed bumps ever. I'm not sure that good solution. That's based on the report. They monitor at least twice a day, except for the days when we were just over, well, like all the light. But most days between April 17th and May the 2nd. Any questions?
Questions, comments, council?
Them 2 streets, you got them, that complaints on, right, those?
Those, we had the citizens come about Glenwood, and then when my recollection is during the discussions, Bond Grace brought up WFRA, we added.
Right, those 2 streets came from your last work session,
Right.
that you requested the information.
We had started monitoring Glenwood on Friday, because I think it was on Friday. Another, an individual complaint we had, but then after the work session, I put it out to everybody. I just was having day watch monitor, started Friday. And of course, you know, there's ball games at Oklahoma, a lot of traffic goes through there, and they play like 5 nights a week. I don't know how much that adds to the volume without having an hour-by-hour count, because, you know, they start ball games at, I think, 6, and the last one at 9. So it may fluctuate, it may be steady because of that. Any questions?
Questions, comments, council? Recommendations?
We'll be back. Well, there's another issue coming up to you at your next work session about how you classify streets. And one of the really important things is, right offhand, we would not recommend any speed bumps on any collector streets. And I'll tell you right now, the traffic volume on Glenwood, you know, like Steve was talking about, is coming to you as a collector street. It just has that much volume on it. The other thing which Steve points out, which I think is very true, is if you put some on Glenwood, you're gonna have folks start shifting over to some of the other streets.
I think it's the same problem on the
Yes.
streets.
And of course, well, WF Reagan already is, you know, so.
I did, we are tomorrow, I think, I'll put it up on the radar signs that we're for UHS up on Glenwood, just to see what impact it might have. Stand up like day, we get access to it.
Anything else, council? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Item 3D is the Office of the City Manager, 3D1, City Technology Services. Mr. Smith.
Mayor, Council. As you are aware, it has been discussed a little bit this evening already. Technology is becoming more and more integrated with the operations of the city. It's unavoidable. And, you know, we'd like to use technology, obviously, for efficiencies, making things easier for the customers, making things easier for employees, that type of thing. And we are, I believe, at a point in time where we need to take the city in another direction. And this is necessitated for a couple of reasons, obviously. ComSouth has recently been acquired by Hargray, so that we're going to look at that. Another couple of issues were pertaining to the level of service we're currently receiving. Just with more and more technology, more and more demands from the individual departments in regards to technology, that type of thing, we just needed an increased level of service. And then also just going back and doing some needed due diligence and bringing the city up to where we really just need to be in regards to technology. So I do a very brief presentation for y'all. Councilman Walker mentioned the assessment the city was completing in regards to our technology. Well, we have completed that assessment. You know, appreciate all the departments and with some of our current technology staff working with us on this. Based on what we have at the city of Perry, and this is by no means exhaustive, 76 workstations, 9 servers, 16 wireless access points, and really one of the big ones and one of the things that we are constantly struggling with here at the city, I feel like, are unique software platforms. So these are the types of softwares that each of the individual departments utilize. For instance, you have Intergov in community development, Encode that was already mentioned in finance, Courtware for municipal court. Every department utilizes their own types of softwares, and sometimes they don't get along with the other softwares that other departments are utilizing. They constantly need to be updated. They constantly are having to be looked at. I mean, it's an ongoing type of deal. So a lot going on with technology. Some of the issues that we've already discussed again this evening, security. We have had a lot of issues in the past couple of years regarding security. I'm sure you're still getting the text messages about paying invoices. We had Brian's computer blow up last year, and he wasn't able to save a lot of the data on that. The ransomware that happened in police, just a lot of issues that keep popping up in regards to security. Backup and storage is really something we are not doing very well right now. And it goes back to some of the issues that we had. If Brian's computer blew up, something like that, we could have come back in there and saved some of that stuff. It was backed up appropriately. Right now, basically, none of the workstations are backed up on a regular basis. Some of the servers are backed up. Actually, most of the servers, I believe, are backed up. But again, a lot of that's kind of on-site, not in the cloud, as they say, or off-site, or any sort of redundant situation. So it is an issue. We want to be able to maintain all of our data. We want to be able to maintain the security of that data, because a lot of it is either proprietary or specifically related to our customers here in the city. Customer service. There have been delays in customer service that some of the departments are having issues with, so we hope to remedy those. And planning and proactivity. We want to get to a point where in technology we're coming to y'all constantly in regards to recommending new technologies, new enhancements, that type of thing that can make the city operate better and provide a better level of service to our customers. So what you have before you is a nice little memo I put together on this. It is recommending that we move forward with Hargray and them providing managed IT services to the city. And what this means is basically we contract with them, a lot like we're currently doing with ComSouth, but again, at a lot higher level of service that we need here at the city. With this, we hope to come in and address some of those immediate needs we talked about, making sure our stuff's backed up, making sure that the Wi-Fi is good throughout the city, making sure people are connected where they need to be, the softwares are talking to each other, the softwares are implemented appropriately, all of that. So again, bringing us up to where we need to be. Part of that, of course, is comprehensive backup, redundant storage. We really need to be in a situation, in the proposal that you have before you will put us in this situation, where basically the city is backed up on a daily basis. And some of the stuff, and we have some of the guys here, correct me if I'm wrong with this, but some of the stuff will be backed up even more frequently than that. So if anything were to ever happen, a tornado knocks down City Hall, a computer blows up because of a virus, any of that type of stuff, we can come back in and get back to where we were just prior to that event happening. So kind of save points, if you will. And then we get the redundancy, making sure they're backed up in several locations, all that type of thing. It's industry standard now. That's something we haven't really been doing. Shifting to the cloud, and again, correct me if I'm wrong with this, but gone are the days where you have your hardware and your servers and that type of thing in your facilities. You pay professional companies to utilize their servers, your stuff is taken off site, backed up, you can access it via any sort of web connection. It's a much better, it's honestly a much more secure model to work from. And that leads into software as a service. What we have right now on most of our computers are software that's kind of loaded onto the computer. It's a snapshot in time, if you will, maybe not easily updatable. But what we want to do is come in to where software is more of a service. You pay a monthly or a yearly subscription fee, and that software just exists in the cloud again, and you can come in there and access it from anywhere. It's much like what we're doing right now with the G Suite stuff. You can access your email from anywhere. You can access all your G Suite stuff, your Google Drive, all of that. So that's where we want to be. We really want to be in a situation where we're paying a monthly fee, but everything is where it needs to be. Everything's updated regularly. Everything is secured, and you just be better for that. Proactive and constant monitoring. This is really a big selling point, I think, with Hargray. They will come in and they will monitor our network and our computers, everything 24/7. Just constant monitoring. If anything happens, and it's pretty fascinating stuff, really. Like, for instance, if we have a workstation in finance that is running low on memory, they'll be able to address that. I will see it from where they are. They'll be like, okay, we got to go do something with this computer. They can come in and address the issue before something happens. The security and stuff associated with this is constantly updated. It's very robust, very multi-layered, if you will, to where I think it's pretty much about as good as you can get. Nothing's ever 100% secure, but this is really about as good as we can get. It's quite impressive again. And planning. Again, we want someone that's going to come in, and we want all the departments, of course, to be vigilant on this, but we want to work with a vendor that's going to come in and constantly provide recommendations how it can do better. Is there any questions about this? It's kind of a lot, I know, but it really is the direction that the city needs to head on this type of stuff.
Well, the only comment I have, I'm sitting here stunned that we don't have backup.
Yeah,
I mean, I have backup at my house. I mean,
Some stuff is backed up, but it is an issue.
it is. I mean, if the computer goes down, we have information that's, relative to the departments, then that needs to be, we need to have that backed up so that can be put back on there.
Sure. I agree, 100%. Just an overview, you have a copy of the agreement proposal in your packets, but just some of the high points again is that the monitoring and support will be phenomenal. And yes, most of this stuff now is done off-site, but they are committing to having, it's unlimited on-site support when necessary, and also having someone here during regularly scheduled hours to assist with whatever, kind of like office hours with a professor or something like that. Again, on-site security, back, all the stuff we basically already discussed. So what's the bottom line, right? We're looking at a proposal of $106,536 per year. You have it outlined in there what all that is, what it's included in that. I will tell you though, the ultimate kind of hit, if you will, above what we're currently paying in our ComSouth agreement is about $13,000. So for an additional $13,000 per year, we are going to be receiving a much, much higher level of service than we currently are. And some of that too is also being able to come in and eliminate some of the redundant, antivirus softwares, some of the offsite storage stuff. Some of that can now go away because it's wrapped up in our new situation with Hargrave.
Is there upfront costs associated with it?
No, obviously there's going to be some costs associated with coming in once they're able to come in and check out what we have in regards to hardware, installing some equipment, that type of stuff that needs to be installed in order to do the backups and the remote monitoring and all that. But they'll come back to y'all with a recommendation in that regard. That's the managed IT services.
I can answer that for you. James Kimball with Hargrave. There are no upfront costs with the managed services contract. The only cost associated is just the difference between what you were paying ComSouth and what you were paying Hargrave, which is the $1,000 a month roughly, $1,200 a month, whatever it was. But the labor involved in coming in, loading the antivirus agents, loading the monitoring agents, all that's all part of the contract. There is no labor charge for that. So,
What kind of timeline are we looking at for implementation?
It's my understanding they're sitting ready on go.
again, so Graydon will be your senior account rep from Hargrave. I am a technical guy. I work professional services and field engineering, which is the actual implementation part. So normally a full onboarding process takes about 30 days to get completely onboarded, to document your whole network, document all the software that you use, and look at the end of life on the hardware and all that other stuff. Implement our agents, our antivirus agents. But the initial onboarding to where you're ready for support is usually only a couple of days, and that's just getting our agents on your machine so we have access to monitor and remotely get into your machines if you were to have a service call to the help desk. So normally that's about 72 hours just to get the agents on the machine, but to be fully onboarded about 30 days.
We've already started a lot of that process as well, so we have a lot of information already.
And our team will actually still be part of this meeting, so we'll still be here doing the infrastructure now, be able to help them do what they need to do.
Does Hargrave have a disaster recovery site?
We have several. So we have a data center in Pritchardville. South Carolina. We have a data center in the AT&T building in Atlanta, Georgia, and we just purchased a data center in Macon. So we have 3 data centers. We also sub out with a couple data centers in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and also Columbia, South Carolina, Spirit Data Center in Columbia, South Carolina, and Spartanburg, South Carolina. So we use 5 different data centers.
You back up your stuff?
We do. Again, what he mentioned about backup recovery, hardware is disposable, data is not. If it wasn't for the integrity of data, we wouldn't have a job. I mean, just plain and simple. That's how it is. So the data is what we harp on. So.
What do you think, council?
I don't think we have any choice.
I agree.
$1,000 a month, I'd say.
Wholeheartedly.
30 days ought to start.
That's right. Let's go with it.
But this will be coming to you tomorrow.
I was gonna say,
Because you'll have to
it'll be
officially.
agenda tomorrow.
That's what's available.
So just ultimately, since there was a signature and the bill came from ComStat South already for the month of May, we will not bill you until we finish onboarding you. So our target date would be June 1st, just to transition the billing between ComSouth and Hargray. That would be our target date to have you fully onboarded, which is a little less than 30 days, pretty intensive, but we can get in here and do it. And if we don't get it done in that time frame, then we won't bill until we finish the onboarding. You won't get a bill from Hargray until the onboarding is finished.
Go, council.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item 3D2 is the incentive program. Mr. Gilmore?
Thank you. Mayor and council, in your board pack is a memo from me recommending an incentive program. This incentive program would focus on restaurants coming in the downtown district. You may remember we've talked about that a number of times. It's a major incentive we want to have. And what's proposed is that if a restaurant decides to come in, or if the restaurant is going to upgrade, then the city would reimburse the owner, whatever the case may be, who's actually paying for that, up to 1/2 of the cost for the actual gas appliances and the gas installation. Funding for that would come from the gas fund. So that way we gain potentially more customers, and we provide one more incentive for restaurants to come downtown.
Thoughts, council?
When you say downtown, do you mean a certain area or the city limits?
No, the downtown district.
How do you justify that if I open a restaurant outside of the district?
Because our strategic plan does not call for increasing and having more restaurants downtown.
Got your reasoning, but I don't think it's fair. I mean, if you build a restaurant downtown, you get the incentive. I build a restaurant out on 75, I don't get it.
Right. Well, let me back up. You know, you felt there was a good idea to have a brewery, a microbrewery, so you gave an incentive to one particular location for one particular project for that type of organization to come in. At least as far as I know, Mr. Hunt, we have not had any issues with any of the fast food or other restaurants coming on Sam Nunn. They come in, they make their marketing decision, and they go in there. We do have, for a number of reasons, not just this, there seems to be a difficulty for us to get more restaurants downtown, and that was heightened, at least my understanding was that was heightened with the loss of Rusty's, when they closed. So we, historically, local governments had used different incentives in different locations to promote different economic activity.
So if a five-star restaurant wanted to go out on the interstate, we probably would offer them incentive, right?
You could very well come back.
I'm just saying, we're not locking it in. Only ones that can get in cities or downtown.
Well, what's proposed right now would be for downtown. If you had, some other incentive or, possibly council comes back and says, no, we want to do this on Courtney Hodges Boulevard. You want to do it some other location, then we can do that. Or council may come back and say, we want to do this citywide, and you can do it citywide. The one thing I would caution you with, of course, is that if you say you're going to be doing it citywide, then you're really going to potentially kick up the costs that we're going to have to pay for. And you would not necessarily be achieving, at least my understanding of your goal, which is to get more restaurants downtown.
I would like to table this until our next work session, if I can, make the request. Because you referred to the incentive we paid out at Georgia Ag Village. I got a lot of negative feedback from a number of people who are in the restaurant business about them, they felt like it was non-competitive for them, that we're paying somebody something that's going to compete with them. And so I'd like to do some discussion with several people and then get back to you.
Consensus of council to table this item for a future meeting?
Yes.
So be it. Thank you. Item 3D3 is disposal of inventory. Mr. Gilmore?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and council, in your packet is a recommendation from the administration. We have a whole bunch of inventory items that appear to have a value collectively of maybe $10. It's old furniture, old filing cabinets, dot X printers, all kinds of stuff like that. So what we are proposing to you all, if you agree, is that we have a city flea market, which would be at Public Works. We'll post it on the website, run an ad, and then the citizens can come in. All they have to do, first come, first serve. You pick it up, you take it, it's yours. We don't have any money involved or any of that type of stuff. Whatever is not taken goes in the dumpster out to the landfill.
I guess the question is, can we do that legally? Because we can't even do that, we can't give the bikes away at Christmas. I was just curious as to how the law, because, we talked about giving the bikes to PBO and we were told that we couldn't do that.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, the issue with the bikes is how the bikes are obtained.
Acquired.
Through the police department, through a legal process, okay? For the disposal of your inventory or items or assets, you determine what the policy is unless you want to do something in conflict with state law, which is not what's being proposed.
Yeah.
So currently we have a value, I think it's like $5,000, for fixed asset. So anything that's over $5,000, have a value of $5,000 originally, would not be included in here. So for example, it's not going to be a pickup truck or a car or something like that. But the other items we have are inventory items. So if you didn't want to do this or you had some concerns, that'd be fine. I'd say fine. We just dump them because they don't have any value. They've gone through their life. Well, they never had it. It's a county-wide value. But they've gone through their life. We don't have any need for it or any of that type of stuff. So we just want to get rid of it. Now, somebody may be interested in taking an old file cabinet and doing a painting with it and growing plants or something like that. Okay, fine, but we don't know, who they are.
I don't have a problem with it. I think going back to what the Walker was saying, so it's legality about it, I said, like you said, city own that stuff instead of throwing it right in the dump.
No, I don't want to do that either. I'm just trying to make sure
Right.
I understand the
Right.
process that we're going. Because what if I show up with a whole truck and say, I want to take it all, because I'm going to take it up to the flea market and sell it? I mean, huh?
Before you get there, I'm gonna come with a tractor trailer and I'm gonna take it to Tennessee when I go next week.
Well,
Give it away, and
that's-
give it away.
That's fine, I mean, I don't, I'm
No,
just.
I'm joking.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just curious, I mean, you know, if somebody's gonna profit from it, I don't know how, I understand what you're trying to do, the, you know, the folks in the city that could come by and pick up a piece and, but, I mean, how do we prohibit people from taking advantage of that and?
We don't.
Hey, ain't gonna be no
I think the
bigger.
option is just to get rid of it without having to put it in
Here's
development.
my perspective on it, okay? We either provide this PR mechanism for people to come by and get stuff if they want it, okay? And if they can go and turn that around for $5,000, good for them, okay? Versus I pay to have a roll-on, roll-off container, or you guys pay, to have a roll-on, roll-off container dropped off, we put all that stuff in, it goes out to the landfill, we pay the tipping fees on the landfill. Why would we do that if we have an opportunity to have somebody else come and take it? Now, it could very well be we do this, council members and mayor, and people are just as smart as we are, or smarter, and you leave it there. You know, because if they, yeah, I mean, I don't know what you do with an old dot matrix printer, probably not much, but I don't know.
I can tell you what you can do with it, but that's okay.
I don't feel like doing it.
No, they have a recycle value, and so that's the reason I asked the question, is because those things do have.
Right.
So they're.
That's true, but if it's a recycle value, if we're gonna do that, then we gotta hunt down and find out where the recycling place is. We gotta find out when and if they're operating, what the operating times are. We gotta pay somebody to go there and take it there, and we pay them to come back. And I don't think that's worthwhile. And even worse, as far as I'm concerned, we're losing a bunch of space keeping this stuff stored here, and it just builds up with no use. And since I don't think the city is in the hoarding business, I think it'd be good for us to get rid of it.
I say get rid of it.
I don't have a problem with it as long as we are following policy of the law.
That's the same thing. I don't have any problem with it.
Chief?
Make sure that Brooke.
I just wanted to back up on the question raised about, if it's in police custody, there's a particular law that applies to that. As far as I know, it doesn't apply to anybody else in the city, just law enforcement.
Make sure we ask that question.
Yeah, it's a property evidence kind of thing. And we have all kind of specific rules to get rid of stuff like that's in that status. But from what I understand, what the city manager's talking about, they wouldn't apply at all.
Consensus of council to move forward.
Oh, yeah, I'll be one of the people in line.
Now, you gotta get there before Riley.
You're gonna be one of the people in line.
Chief, we're gonna need some traffic control.
It sounds like maybe we need
Two vehicles, traffic control.
maybe we need a preview.
I'm just curious about the hardware. The hardware, that's what I'm curious about.
Especially.
Any further? Item 3D4, transfer of items, Mr. Gilmore.
Thank you. Mayor and council, also in your packet is a recommendation from the administration to relocate 2 items currently located at the Perry Arts Center. The first item, and that would be moved when the park is set and ready for it, would be the Girl in the Tree. I think y'all are familiar with that sculpture there. Recommending that that be moved over to Crossroads Park. So that'd be one of the things you'd see when you're first coming into the city. And like I said, that would be installed over there when the park is ready to have it installed. The second item is that you may remember that there is a gazebo located out at the Perry Arts Center that originally came in and was set up when they had the farmer's market there. Have followed up with Ms. Myers, and our Main Street is talking about maybe making some adjustment to the farmer's market, but not bringing it back to the Perry Arts Center. So we would recommend to you all that you okay relocating the gazebo over to Andrew Heights Park.
Religious services approved both of them. The moving of them.
Well, no, did not ask them.
Sir,
I did not ask him.
we just owe a courtesy call to say, we're gonna do it. Do you have any objections? No, thank you, good, bye. I just think it's common courtesy.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna ask at least you said.
Oh, I guess Ms. Grant, Ms. Haggard. Now, it's actually, the Perry Arts Center is underneath Public Works. So you can ask Mr. Smith if he has any problems with it.
None here?
Thank you.
Quick answer.
But we will check.
Common courtesy.
Anything further? Just to be clear, consensus is to move forward.
Yes.
Item 3D, 5, the temporary assignment.
Yes. Speaking of the Department of Leisure Services, we are in the process of posting and advertising for that position. And then you may remember after that is to go through and review what comes in and then scheduling interviews, so on and so forth. My recommendation in the interim is that we have Ms. Graham be assigned the temporary position of the director out there. The reason for that is, one, Ms. Graham has the most seniority and is most knowledgeable about all the various operations that we have out there. I think it's important there are 3 supervisors out there right now, Ms. Graham, Ms. Taggart, and Mr. Brown. And I think it's important we do have one person designated to be responsible out there because they have a number of programs, that are going on daily. So it's not a situation like you may remember we've been able to do in the past about where the city manager could go out or the assistant city manager. And I think this is just a good thing to do. And this would just remain in effect, assuming Ms. Graham agrees. I think she will, but if not, then we'll just continue on a regular process. But this will remain until the new director is chosen and comes in, whoever that may be.
Any objections, council?
No.
Ms. Graham is a mighty fine lady. I'll support her.
Very good. Item 3D6, amend the city's billing collection process. Mr. Bill.
Thank you. Mayor and council, in your packet is a recommendation from the administration. You may remember a little while ago, we recommended to you for those of our customers who seem to have problems paying their bills on time, that we have a deposit. We have implemented that. That has helped somewhat. However, there seem to be another very small group, a reoccurring group of customers that still have problems making their payments on time. So what we would like to recommend to you all would be that if the customer has gone through the deposit process and still is unable to pay his, her, or its bills on time, then they would be required to pay in advance on what an estimated cost would be in the advance. This is similar to what Georgia Power does with some of its problem customers. And if for some reason that does not work, then we recommend that that person or entity be declared a bad credit risk, and they cannot have a city services account in their name. If that is determined, then we're recommending that that person cannot come back and be a customer for 5 years' time in order to allow them to establish hopefully their credit. If they come in at that 5-year time, then they would have to pass a credit check. If it gets like 10, we'll go ahead and give them. The other thing we're recommending with that should we have to take this action, that whoever comes back in as the person for that account, they have to pass a credit right off the bat. The concern and problem that we've had is that some of these problem customers, they go on, the deposit is not enough to defer them from keeping up on their account. When we do go in and close with it and everything, then they say, okay, fine, and then they go get some friend of theirs or whatever to come in and take over the account. And for those type of accounts and situations, this wouldn't be everybody, just where we've had problems.
Have our attorneys agreed to that with us?
We will run it past the city attorney's office if you all generally agree with the process.
I agree with the process, I just want the ship's legal.
My main concern is that, I think the process would be good, but I think, and I know, I'm sure you have been working on this, the water department, or pay bills that people need to understand the process, what we doing and why we doing it. You know what I mean? I said, put a lot of emphasis on that, you know, because, I know you heard it before. Well, I didn't understand, I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm sure Ms. Val will make sure that this information get out there to the citizens, let them know however we put it out there, let them know exactly in the timeline that we start putting this forward, you know what I mean? And so I think that we want to really keep the people informed. That's one of my main concerns, because we hear it all the time. But you don't never tell them that y'all do stuff and nobody know. Y'all just do this and do that, you know what I mean? And then I had a fella, we were cleaning up this week in the community and over there on the street, and I had a fella chew me up and spit me out several times, you know what I mean? So I tell you what, I didn't say anything. I just said then I accepted and I took it, you know what I mean? And he was talking about how they had to get the yard cleaned up and get everything. And then they put a little post out there in front of the yard, and you feel that they were picking on him, you know what I mean? So I just, the point is, let's emphasize it and make sure the public knows, all our customers know what we doing down here, you know?
If this is approved by you all and the city attorney's office, then if you even move into the deposit mode, then you would get a copy of what this stuff is, plus you get a reminder with it. I understand what Mr. King is saying. That's a story that's said over and over and over again. And we can pull up about the calls that go to them and all that kind of stuff, and the notices that are sent to them. Sometimes there may be some legitimacy, but most of the time it is a stall or another excuse not to have to pay.
It's a relatively small group of people. It's
Very
not
small.
big, so and I think that they need to pay just like that. You and I pay our rates, so I think they need to be informed, but I'm very supportive of us continuing to tighten that down.
Consensus to move forward? Do you need a vote on this, Mr. Gilmore, or just consensus?
Well, we'll make sure the city attorney's office is okay with it, and then it would come back to you to vote.
Okay. Anything further? Item 3.7 is the implementation of an excise tax.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Mayor and council, Ms. King advised me that there is a portion of our alcohol code in the city's code that's been there for a long time, which provides that the city can collect an excise tax on each liquor drink that is sold in the city. It's been there a while, but for one reason or another, I have no idea what it is, but it has not been implemented by the city. So my recommendation to you all would be that we implement that after giving notice to all the affected members. My sense is that, because it goes pretty far back, when this first was done, we did not have any facilities that were qualified for it, or there may have only been one that was just, I'm not quite sure on that. But as we continue to grow, I think it's not a huge revenue income, but it is something. We have probably about 13 or so establishments that will qualify for it, so we're recommending.
This is hard liquor.
Hard liquor, right?
Not beer and wine.
No, this does not apply to beer and wine.
Liquor by the director.
Yes.
But one thing I say is that, Mr. Gilmore, is that I'm back again and having to make sure that you, like I'm saying, back to my point, you make sure that it's spelled out to people. It does nothing we just come up with.
Right.
Because, it's been on record, it's been there, and then, we just bring it forward because, like you said, we got 13 people here, it can affect, then, vendors, then they need to know that one day we just sat down here and we thought it up, and now we're gonna implement it and we're gonna bring it out. I mean, I think that's one of the things that we wanna make sure the community is aware of what we doing, we wanna be transparent. We don't want nothing to come up that they think we just doing stuff down here, just to get some more money, you know what I mean? I say, you know, I get my ears pinched, you know, I hear, I'm picking up on stuff, you know what I mean? So I'm just saying, let's make sure we stay transparent, and let's make sure, if you're going out, make sure that you show that it's been on the books X number of years or whatever, and in time, you know, we can do that, you know?
Yes, sir.
What's the percentage?
3%.
3% on the cost. So how do you
It's on the cost of the site.
sell? I would think it's the sale of the
The sale.
drink. So I don't know how you monitor that.
Cosmopolitan costs you $8, it's 3% on the $8. Now, it's self-reporting like the hotel motel.
That's the issue, right?
You just didn't sell anything last night.
Okay.
But along Mr. King's point there, if you concur with this, then we're not talking about having an effective date on this until like July 1st or so the notices can go up. If for some reason there's some type of extension that needs to be done because of how they have to adjust their software, we'll be happy to do that. However, the vast majority of these people who are affected are corporations, are already dealing with this in all the other cities and everything, so it's just gonna be, okay.
And they really will not pay it. It'll just be charged to the customer.
Right.
So people who are buying drink, it's no different than a sales tax. They'll just pay an additional 3%, so,
For a hard drink, huh?
for a hard drink.
Not hard cider.
A hard cider.
Is that something we need to vote on?
No, if you concur, because you already have it in your code, so if you
Okay.
concur, then we'll.
Concur to move forward.
Typical looking at about 25 cents on an average drink somebody's got to pay, so it's my math.
Very good. Item 3D8, approval of a plaque for the Sinclair Station. Mr. Gilmore.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. In your packet is a plaque proposed from the Perry Area Historical Society for installation on the Sinclair Station, which recently was stabilized. I will be the first to eat crow on that project. That came out a lot better than I thought it was going to. Of course, I'm also glad somebody else picked up half the cost of that project as well. But anyway, I think what they're proposing is very nice, very timely, but this is coming to you for your okay because it's your building.
Any objections, council?
They're going to pay half that too?
Yes. Well, I think they're.
I think I'll pay all of it. So we're even better.
Has it already been made?
I don't know. As far as I know, it could be on the building. I don't think it is.
I don't doubt it's not on the building, but it's not yet anyway. But they did it on it.
No objections, move forward. Anything else to come before us for our item 3 for items review and discussion, Mr. Gilmore?
No, sir.
Thank you. Item 4, council member items. Mr. Hunt? Mr. King? Madam Grace?
Well, I would like to thank the city of Perry as well as the community for the cleanup over the weekend. I think it was a success. I wish we could have done more, had more time, more people, but I think it was a success.
Ms. Walker?
The only thing is that I think everybody got a copy of the GMA's District 6 officer vote. As a city, we get to have one ballot, and I just make a recommendation that the mayor vote on our behalf. And I would be supportive of voting the recommendation of the GMA's, what they recommended as their slate, because they've done the research and that kind of stuff. So,
I looked at it too today, and I thought, most of those folks, I know.
Yeah, you do. So, and, you know, Eric Wilson is the mayor up in Forsyth, and I think he'll do an outstanding job. So,
Any objections?
unless there has any objections to that. Thank you.
Very good.
So if the mayor will vote on our behalf for that, I appreciate it.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you. Gilmore?
Yes, just one item to confirm, I guess. An inquiry came up relative to the city's nepotism policy, which states that no relative as defined in the personnel policy can be hired or work for the city of Perry if they are related to the council members, the mayor, the city manager, the city attorney, department heads, or members of boards that you all appoint, like DDA. It does go on and talk about other employees. There's their family things there's no restrictions on other than supervisors, and or in other words, whoever is below a department head. Other than the fact that if a relative was to be hired, they could not work in the same department or area that the supervisor is employed in. So the question came up about a relative of a supervisory employee who is interested in applying for one of the city's director positions. And the determination was made that that person, that relative, could not apply because with our current personnel policy, if that person applies and council hires he or she, the relative currently working as an employee would be separated from the city. Everybody with me on that?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we're not recommending, and we've had this come up before, because now, of course, if the employee who's currently working for the city says, well, if this happens, I'll be happy to give up my job. Well, one, I'd require that in writing if that happened, but that would, you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so we just don't want to, in essence, bring on any more problems for the city. But, it was brought up, and so as a courtesy, I thought I'd check and confirm with you that we stay with our policy.
I agree.
But that's the rationale behind it.
I agree. I think that's one thing we need to stay away from.
Yeah.
It's hiring relatives,
One way or the other.
one way or the other.
Right.
Does that include volunteers?
No,
If I volunteered for a committee, or my wife volunteered for a committee?
no. Doesn't include volunteers, doesn't include friends, doesn't include distant relatives. The relative falls back to whatever our personnel policy states. That's a relative. So if you're a third cousin of somebody, you're not affected by this.
Concurrence.
Or just
Keep it confirmed. Council.
You like it either.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Smith?
No, sir.
You? Ms. Newby?
Yes, sir.
Item 5, department head and staff items. What?
Mr. Mayor, I do have a couple of items real quickly. As Ms. Bonnie Grace has mentioned, Saturday we did have our spring cleanup. I think it was a success. Hopefully we'll continue growing them. We had about 20 volunteers this time. That included members from the Boy Scout Troop number 96. And some citizens there, some city employees. Ms. Bonnie Grace and Mr. King were there. We ended up cleaning up portions of Tucker Road and Keith Drive and all of Oak Ridge Drive and Perimeter Road. Although today, going down Perimeter Road, you wouldn't know that we were there Saturday. We don't have a indication right now of the amount of garbage that we paid, the tonnage, but there were about 60 bags. I think there was a sofa, some mattresses, some tires, I think maybe an old bathtub, found some snakes. But we got a lot of stuff up. Wanted to also thank Mr. Ennis and his crew for supporting us Saturday. I think we had a good program there. And also this afternoon, we received notification from DCA that the housing team and the city have been recertified for the Georgia Initiative for Community Housing for the next 2 years. So,
Congratulations. Good job. Thank you. Ms. King? Chief Lynn?
Yes, sir, Mayor, Mayor and Council. 3 dates that I just want to put out, and I'll probably do it again tomorrow. Saturday, May the 11th, I mean, none of these are this week, well, one's at the end of the week. Saturday, May the 11th, Coffee with a Cop from 9 to 11 at Bodega Brew. We'd love for y'all to come out and join us. Monday, May the 13th at 6 p.m. at Southside Baptist Church in Warner Robins. It's the Middle Georgia Law Officers Memorial Service that will honor officers who died in the line of duty for Georgia during the last 12 months. And that's participated in by all departments. They generally just have had it at Southside Baptist the last few years because it's a big enough venue to handle that. We'll have honor guard members in there as well as the other departments will. And then the third thing is Wednesday, May the 15th, flags at half-staff for National Law Enforcement Memorial Day. We'll take care of reminding everybody that they need to go to half-staff that day. But just wanted to put those dates out in front of you. It's a few days down the road, but
That last one, Chief, is there a ceremony associated with it, or is just
not locally. There'd be a ceremony in Washington, D.C. at the National Law Officers Memorial. That's where that's the day that they add all the officers that died in the previous year to the wall.
Right.
And they have a memorial service for that that's quite impressive. I had both honor and misfortune some years ago to attend on behalf of Warner Robins PD when I worked there to put one of our officers on the wall who died from a line of duty traffic crash. And it's pretty impressive. And so we'll actually have some officers attending that, not as participants, but as spectators.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Chief Parker?
Yes, Mayor and Council, just want to let you know about and kind of get your approval, I guess, about an upcoming event that the Halo Group wants to do. They want to do a community festival out at the Perry Airport. I guess they got some approval to do something out there. And basically what they're asking from the fire department is they want to do a fire truck pool, something they've seen done up north and some other places. And I guess the lady that is doing it has done it with Houston County in previous years at other locations. But my recommendation would be if you agree to it, we would offer them the antique fire truck as one that they could pull. And all we would provide really is a person to sit in the driver's seat and make sure it's steered correctly and to brake when it needed to brake. But they do plan to ask for other support as far as I think they want to contact the police department and have the show of the dogs and different things like that out there. But it's going to be a community-wide event, and so far she's just asked me for that opportunity to use a fire truck to pull. I guess there would be teams that would register to pull the truck and compete against one another.
I don't have an issue with it as long as we get the proper disclaimer and liability form signed by participants. Isn't that normally what's done?
Yes, sir. I think that would be appropriate.
Any problems with that, Council?
Is there going to be a fundraiser?
I'm assuming there may be, if you register as a team, you may have to pay something. I don't know how much. What she told me on the phone was it would be a community-wide event to bring awareness to the special needs children. There may be some fundraising. She just asked me about the fire truck, so.
When is this? When is
The date, I believe it's further into September. Maybe Labor Day or at that time frame. I don't remember the exact date. I know we've got time. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Chief. Sheriff Gilmore. Council like more information?
Don't know what's going on.
Chief, can you see if you can get some more information for us, please?
Yes, sir.
I know you called it a festival. It would be interesting to know if it is a fundraiser.
I'll get something in writing from the group.
That puts it into a different category.
Okay.
It ain't got anything to do with them, but.
Sure.
It's just like we don't let our stage out to anybody for any reason, you know.
Okay.
Not necessarily comparing apples and apples, but I think we need a little bit more information.
Yes, sir.
Unless the council disagrees.
We do need information, so we don't want to start something we have to keep going with, you know what I mean? It's been my policy, you know, we can't.
I agree. Anything else, Chief?
No, sir.
Anything further, Mr. Smith?
No, sir.
Ms. Palmer?
Nothing tonight, sir.
Good.
Hello.
Have you been here the whole time?
Yes, I have. Good evening, Mayor
What do you have for
Council. The splash pad opened at 2 o'clock today, so if you hadn't heard that, it's open, and I'm sure it will be well utilized again this year, especially with the addition of the shade umbrellas. So I also wanted to inform you that last week I had the privilege and pleasure of attending Oklahoma University's Economic Development Institute, where I took 45 hours of classes in 4.5 days, and I graduated, and I started that journey 3 years ago. There was about 150 to 200 economic developers from all over the country, and it's the only university in the world that the IEDC recognizes and partners with on curriculum. So I'm officially a graduate, and I'm excited to use my knowledge on my professional resume and with the businesses I'm working with here.
Does that make you a sinner?
It does. My husband said I have to teach for Big 12 schools now instead of SEC.
I wouldn't say that real loud.
Right. So thank you for your support.
Congratulations. Yes. Thank you very much. Ms. Warren, you have anything from the clerk's office?
This afternoon, I'm placing your boxes, your personal financial statements. If you could complete those and get them back to me by July the 1st. And that's all I have.
Very good. I feel certain that, and speaking for myself, I will need at least one reminder.
Yes, sir.
Please. Thank you.
Is the paperwork in our box?
Yes. Yes. We have a number of staff members here. Without embarrassing myself, I'm not being able to remember your name. Does anybody on the staff have anything for us? Anything? Very good. Anything? All right. All right. Our next regular scheduled meeting is tomorrow upstairs. For the pre-council meeting at 5, council meeting is at 6. There's nothing else to come before us. Thank you for your interest and participation. We stand adjourned.